doesn't need any different types of questions. You answer the question, you get marked whether you're right or wrong, and you indicate whether you think it's or not that you're going to be marked right. That's the thing that is added. The questions and the providing of the answers are exactly the same as they used to be. This worry about standard setting is something for examiners in relation to final assessment, but not something very important for self-tests. And there's a lot of inertia in the system. People who provide virtual learning environment, as it were, they've got systems that work quite well, and they're perhaps reluctant to add to them. So I think I should stop there and ask if people have things to bring up.
Okay, Tony, I'll just give you a formal thank you on behalf of everyone. That was a great session, and I think you've shown us something really interesting. I mean, I was well aware of this before, which is why I was so keen on getting you to present in this series. I think it's a very thought-provoking area for us, and will enable us to go back perhaps and look at our own assessments, or if we work with colleagues on their assessments, and think about how this might be useful in that area. So I'll just say a formal thank you very much for the presentation. I'll open it up to discussion. People quite please take the microphone. We'd like to continue the discussion. I know that some people may have to go, so that's fine. In the meantime, I'll also just bring the survey back up again, just in case people didn't have time to fill it out, and I'll just leave that on the screen while we ask questions, Tony.
That's good.
So please, anyone, please just take the mic or put your hand up if you wish, if there's a number of people who wish to ask a question.
Yes, I have a question in regards to, you said you programmed JavaScript for Moodle. Is it possible to use that with other learning assessment systems as well?
The JavaScript is the way in which the LAPT system works, which is the specifically done self-test system that we have at University College London. And that can be used with any other system as an external system. You can jump out of your virtual learning environment to the LAPT system that runs the JavaScript. And there are a number of places that do that. The example I gave was Imperial, our strongest collaborator there. But a number of other places that do use their own exercises. Usually they use the software actually from University College, so that they link to the UCL website, and they download from the server the JavaScript files which run the thing on their computer. So that it doesn't involve the server more than just providing a web page basically there. And so then you can actually use questions that you either put up on our server by sending them to me, or you can use questions that you put up on your own server and are linked from the lab system at UCL. We could run it so that people installed the JavaScript files on their own servers in their own institutions. There's no problem in doing that, except that when there are any updates, it means that they have to be updated in different places, not just in the one place, which is why it's easier for me at the moment if people use the lab system to do it from UCL. I was planning actually, and I still could if people wanted, show you the use of Moodle with the certainty based marking built into it. The Moodle code is code that is embedded in Moodle, but in order to use it with your Moodle installation, you'd have to copy the code into your own system, and you'd have to be responsible for maintaining that along with any other updates that you use for your own system. So certainly that is possible, and perhaps eventually it will be possible to incorporate it into the core code of Moodle in the next version, but it isn't in the core Moodle at the moment. You'd have to get the files from our website and download them integrate them into your own system, which is quite easily done for somebody who knows what they're doing, but it's not trivial.
Okay, Zeta,
somebody's
would you like
asked
to take the microphone? In the text box.
It's in the text. I see
Zeta
has asked whether it takes longer to do CBM exams, so they have to judge their confidence as well as the knowledge part of the question. That's interesting. As I said, quite often when you think of the answer to a question, the degree to which it's reliable just pops up. You think of the answer and you know that it's quite possible that you've got it wrong, got it mixed up, that it's something else that begins with the same letter or something like that. Sometimes you know very well that instantly that it's that. It's since part of the aim of this is to try to raise the stakes on answering questions. If we're trying to encourage students to think more about things, it's a characteristic. Medical students that we deal with are obviously very well selected. They're very good at passing exams, and when you ask a question, they will often answer straight away on the basis the first thing that comes into their head. Certainty based marking is trying to provide an incentive to do more than that, to think a little bit more before they answer, and that does take time. Any extra thinking that you do about it, following up some sort of possible reservation that something, if the answer that you provide were correct, then that would mean that else would be true, and you're not quite sure that that fits with your rest of your knowledge. If there's any element of things like that going on in your mind when you answer a question, you may take some time to sort through them, and you may want to sort of think on a piece of paper about what the implications would be. And certainly that does take extra time, but it's extra time that, at least in my view, is very well spent. It's not expensive to provide students extra time in exams. It's very expensive to provide them with extra questions in exams. So the whole question of time in exams is a very controversial one. Personally, I actually don't like time limits on exams. I don't like time-pressured exams, because I think it's much more important that the students be able to answer the questions with lots of time than that they be able to provide the right answers very quickly under time pressure. So it's difficult to know. We haven't done any experiments, observations to try to identify whether it takes them extra time. It must take them a little bit of extra time, but in a lot of cases, it's not much. So should I deal with the question? I can see some. If you use Moodle, do you have to make new questions, or can you use the ones that are in the question database? Using Moodle, with the Moodle CBM code, if you switch off the CBM in the quiz control update window, if you don't use CBM in that, it will work exactly as it normally does. If you switch it to using CBM, there are various things that will change. It will use the same questions in your quiz database. It will be specific to a particular quiz. You might use the same questions in the database in a different quiz without certainty-based marking, but in one quiz with certainty-based marking. It simply changes the way these are presented and the way the information is shown in the results kind of pages. CBM indeed is a setting at the quiz level and not at the question level. Would it be sensible for me to illustrate the Moodle website that I can put up?
Yeah, Tony, Tony, that would be a good idea.
You mean wiping out? You mean wiping your survey?
No,
so
that's
in order
fine.
to do that,
I think everyone's finished that.
So yeah, what I need to do is to put up in the content frame. If I can just somewhere else find the Moodle address. Going to be a link. And with luck, we should. Yeah. I've put up a a link to a Moodle server site, which is it's linked on the page if you look at the things about Moodle there, and you can actually go into this just as I'm doing at the moment. I'll put in the username Moodler. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm just logging in. Moodler is the username and Moodler is the password there. And oops.
Sorry, we only see the front page, Tony. If you want to actually...
So if I use the share option, I get a thing with a whole lot of Geoffrey, Crisp, and Matthew. I get all the different people who are still around. Sharing dot. Okay. Begin sharing. All right. Oh dear.
Then there's a last little trick with it. You'll see a little target icon, and you need to drag and drop that target icon onto your web browser window in order for it to be shared as such.
Okay, I can just drop that onto anywhere in the window, can I?
Yep, that should be right.
Has that shown up for you people yet? Doesn't seem to have worked, I'm afraid. I don't see the window that I was looking at. I think the sensible thing for me to do here is to give you the link to the page I'm talking about, and people can look at it themselves.
That would be a good idea. If you just type that into the text box.
So there we are. Yeah. So that link, which is also linked on the main lab page, which is just the first part of that web address, that will enable you to log in with username and password on Moodler. And if you do that, you can look at the quizzes with and without the CBM. They're the same quiz with and without the CBM there. There is a way that I can that's available certainly on the Moodle forum, and you can email to me to ask how to get in as an admin person, so that you can actually look at changing the update on this and play around with this.
Okay, Tony, that seemed to work fine. So people should be able to do that on their own computer and have a play around with that.
So are there some other questions that I should be looking at here in the text? I'm just trying to look through that to see.
Are there any more questions? Because we might bring this to a close, I think, Tony, because we've had you on there for quite a while, and we do appreciate the time you've actually spent with us. It's been really great. You've given us some resources to follow up on as well. So, yeah, for those participants who are still here, are there any other final questions that you would like to ask?
I should add that I think it's been a very useful sort of concept, this transforming assessment, and trying to encourage people to think about assessment in different ways that you're doing from Adelaide and Brisbane.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And yes, it certainly, we're not trying to tell people that how they have to do things, but I think having something that focuses people's attention just on the conversations and the discussions, and then also to bring new ideas or different options for people to think about. That's certainly been one of the